Howdy folks, Eric here, back with another standard brew. Today, playing Temur Cauldron. Last time I was on this shell, I called it Temur Tarfire. We were exploring Lasting Tarfire from Lorwyn Eclipsed. Today, a more streamlined, all-in on the Cauldron version. The idea here, we put a Twitching Doll into the graveyard, exile it with the Agatha Soul-Cauldron, and because Murata, Mako, and Sokka all generate a lot of counters, they become great targets to sacrifice to create a lot of spiders at once. We also have a couple backup targets in Loot the Pathfinder. A lot of relevant abilities to stick onto creatures that if we, put onto all of our creatures really add up and allow us to close out the game pretty quickly with a bunch of card draw or just various lightning bolts to the face and body. Some supporting pieces here, a couple Cryogen Relics, 4 Melded Moxite, a couple Saheeli's Lattice. These are good artifacts that we can put into play off of Murata. And I think I would be on maybe the full 4 set of Saheeli's Lattice and only 0 Cryogen Relics if I had the Saheeli's Lattices. I'm fresh out of wild cards, y'all. Like, even down to the uncommons. It's kind of crazy what a new set release will do when I just I'll craft a full set of spell snares and a full set of requiting hexes, so on and so forth. Oh, suddenly I just have no wild cards, so it's okay. It is what it is. I think in that similar vein, I would be on the full 4 set of Agatha Soul-Cauldron, but for the purposes of today's video, this should be fine. I'm not saying this is like the perfect version quite yet either, but I think if you wanted to explore this idea, I think this is a pretty good starting point. There's a lot of cool synergies going on here. Sokka punches way above its weight. I'm surprised because at face value, you read this card and say, yeah, it doesn't really do anything. It's a 2-mana 1/1, but in this deck specifically, it gets very large, and being able to discard 2 is actually a really big game with our Monument to Endurance backup plan. We're also on a couple Torch the Tower, 4 Boomerang Basics. 2 Winter Night Stories. A very light mana base because we have a lot of cycling at our 2 mana spot. We're only on 19 lands, 2 of them being Agna Kelaz. And then our sideboard, a couple Soul Guide Lanterns. We don't need a whole lot of Graveyard Hate because we have the 3 main deck Cauldrons. 2 Into the Flood Maws, very versatile piece. 3 Spell Pierce, a couple Spell Snares, trying them out as well. The last 2 Torches, and then 4 Origin and Metal Bending. I like this as a naturalized option for this list because it's naturalized, but also being able to put a counter on something is pretty relevant when we are on the Agatha Soul-Cauldron plan. Okay, let's take this bad boy for a spin in some ranked matches. Alright, starting out on the draw. This hand's pretty close. The lack of blue is a little tough. We do have a Twitching Doll that we could just play to access blue. I do like that it has the Doll plus Cauldron and Murata. I mean, this hand's pretty perfect if we just have a blue source. I'm going to keep it. We'll try it out. I think I'll probably just stick to 3 matches for this video. Trying to get a little ahead on recording. Going to be out of town here pretty soon, so I need to sort of stockpile some videos. The Mako's not a bad draw. Let's just shock ourselves here. We're probably going to want to access green next turn anyway. And there's a chance we just draw a blue source. I guess maybe shocking ourselves doesn't make sense in that case. I don't know. They don't swing. That seems a little crazy. There's our blue source. I think maybe the Twitching Doll still just makes sense on this board. Because I could threaten to double block the Arabella if they don't have an Anthem effect. There's Suki. Yeah, I think I'm still going to double block this Arabella. Just gets out of hand too quickly. And it's pretty likely that they put the Twitching Doll in my graveyard, which is nice for us. They kill off the Mako. Do they know what I'm up to? Okay. Play a Willow Rush Verge. Play Murata. Probably have to Boomerang Basics this Suki here. Let's get the Cauldron on the field. It'll be more relevant for combat purposes. And just bounce the Suki. Set them back a little bit. Try to slow down the game here. But you know, depending on how quickly these matches go, there's a War Leader's Call. Depending on how quickly these matches go, I might play a full 5. We'll see. Especially if I'm like 3-0, you know, if I win 3 matches in a row, I'm going to be a little more inclined to play full 5. Swinging in. Go ahead and block here. Just exile the Arabella, I suppose. Go for a counter on Murata. Kind of a rough spot with the War Leader's Call on the field. Winter Night Stories. What can we do here? I could just like play and sack this relic. Tap down the stadium headliner. Keep them from guaranteeing that next turn. I could fire off the Winter Night Stories and hope that I hit something poppin'. I guess if I hit like loot into my graveyard, that could be pretty good. Twitching Doll would be okay for some blockers. I think I'm going to go for the relic plan here. I think it's a little safer. I guess what I could have done, in retrospect, I could have played the Winter Night Stories, then put the relic in off of Murata, and then activated it with the extra mana. I kind of like holding up some blockers here, though. Let's just go ahead and stun down the stadium headliner. There's a monument to endurance. Okay, I'll pass it back here. We can almost put the monument in off of Murata, which is pretty nice. Next turn we'll be able to do that. Suki coming in. War Leader's Call trigger. They can swing with this ally, but we'll be able to block here. They could give up the stadium headliner to kill off Murata officially if they wanted to. I doubt they'll choose to do that, but they might. Okay. Make sure we activate the Twitching Doll. Put another counter on it. Marauding Mako. Okay, another piece on the board. That's pretty nice. So let's play the Mako. Let's put the monument into play off of Murata here. And then fire off this Winter Night Stories. I guess I can hold the land for now before I decide what I want to do. I'm only at 4, which is quite low against a War Leader's Call on the field. Monument into play. Fire off the stories. Okay. Got some options here. I could discard the loot. Make a treasure. Exile the loot onto the Twitching Doll. And then shoot something. I could exile the loot onto the Twitching Doll and make spiders. I think getting loot into the graveyard makes sense. And then next turn I can get the Twitching Doll into the graveyard for Murata. Let's go ahead and make a treasure. I think having access to more mana makes sense to me. I guess they could respond to me activating the Soul-Cauldron by killing off my Twitching Doll here. So let's just pass for now. Could just play another Twitching Doll for blocks. Yeah, it kind of feels bad holding up, like, expecting to resolve this loot situation. Maybe we just put another Twitching Doll into play. Guarantee another blocker here. set up to get the doll into the graveyard with blocks. And then we're really quite set up next turn to produce a big board, although if they wanted to, they could guarantee 2 damage on me with the War Leader's Call next turn. Bit of a tricky spot. Swinging in. Oh, I guess they do have this attack. Yeah, I don't think there was anything I could have done here. I guess make spiders in retrospect was the line to block. But I think even that is just a little too late. No problem. Let's hop into the next one. Go into our sideboard here, see what we have. Probably one of the torches. Into the Floodmaw could be okay. Origin of Metal Bending is probably correct. Hits their War Leader's Calls and also possibly Light or Rest in Peace if they bring it in. Let's go down a couple basics. Let's go down a couple Saheeli's Lattice. I like keeping the Cryogen Relics in if I'm on the torch plan. We could probably go down a couple Monuments too. A little slow in this matchup. Try it like that. On the play. Ooh, okay. This looks pretty decent. We need a way to discard our stuff, but I think this looks pretty decent. Let's lead on the Shock so we can be a little deceptive about our mana situation next turn. Hold up a torch if we want to without raising the alarms. Okay. Play a Shark. It's a little far away from being good, but we're pretty nicely set up for any of our discard artifacts being relevant. Or a Sokka would be really nice. Cryogen Relic is kind of a sick draw for us. So let's go ahead. I'm just gonna play the Cryogen Relic and then plan to put the Twitching Doll into play off of Murata. So let's play the Cryogen Relic. Another Shark. Torch the Voice. Draw off the Cryogen Relic with a Scry. Another Torch, pretty good. Another Shark. Having access to some cycling's not bad, but let's go ahead and skip on Shark number 3. Swing in for 1 here. Pass it to you. We might just hardcast a loot next turn if we draw a land. Triple white. I kind of have a feeling my opponent is stuck on red. Twitching Doll into play. They might have a Get Lost. There's another loot. Okay. I think I'm just going to cycle this Shark. I don't think it contributes a whole lot to the board right now. And I think possibly drawing into like a relevant artifact to put into play off Murata. Or another land is pretty good for a future loot. Let's go ahead and swing in with the Shark. Yeah, might as well swing in with the Doll as well. Accumulating the counters off of the Twitching Doll I don't think is a particularly good plan. And this is a matchup where their life total does matter, so I think getting early hits in is pretty good. They draw their Mountain. There's an Enduring Courage. Okay. Well, they're not going to be thrilled about my Torch the Tower. Let's go ahead and back to me. Okay, good. So we draw a 6th mana source to be able to play the loot and torch the Enduring Courage. And this is just a 2/4 double strike Vigilance Haste at the same time. So not the worst thing to be playing. Torch this guy. Got to give up the Twitching Doll, but we set it up in our graveyard with a Soul-Cauldron on top. Pretty good. We got a big Murata ready to crack. Should be kind of tough for them to deal with this. I do wish I was on the 4th Cauldron. It does make sense in this list, I think. I don't have the wild cards. Hashtag free to play. Such is life. War Leader's Call. Alright, well, I think they're kind of dunzo. Play a Soul Cauldron. Being able to put a counter on loot is kind of cool too. If we wanted like extra double striking damage, like they have to block the loot here. Well, okay, well they're just dead to this. I'm gonna do the cool thing anyway. I guess this is kind of showing them the cool thing, but loot alone will kill them. Hit them for 4, and then just bolt them. Would have had like 8 spiders, which is kind of crazy though. Kind of hard for that deck to beat 8 spiders, unless they're on Pyroclasm against us, which seems unlikely. Just run it back. Maybe bring in some Spell Snares or something, but I think this is fine. Spell Snares to hit Voice of Victory on the draw is probably correct. I like that we have the Cauldron. I like that they're mulliganing, and I like that we have our colors. I'll keep this, I guess. It's not the best hand. Cryogen Relic is a pretty good draw, though. Let's go ahead and play the Steam Vents tapped here. An object to sacrifice for our torch is nice. Sokka. Well, we don't have Sokka mana. Origin of Metal Bending. Need to hit a 3rd land here in the next draw. There's Suki. Pretty nice swing here. Coming in for 6, making a token. Gonna be hard to beat this. We don't have a lot of tools for this. Maybe we should be on Seer. Maybe I'm sleeping on Seer. As a removal option here. Still not really adjusted to the new cards in the meta. We'll keep a land on top. I'm not long for this world. We can discard a card, set up the Twitching Doll in our graveyard here. Delny. Delny doesn't do a whole lot here. Swing it in. Okay. We kind of have a window, I think. So we play a Willow Rush Verge. I think we have to get the Sokka in the field so that we can potentially go for like a big Twitching Doll next turn. But maybe if we play Sokka, we don't have anything we could do afterward with this single forest. We could play the Monument and lead into Sokka. Make some treasures. Hope we draw into some removal for their stuff. I'm feeling pretty dead. I think the only way out of this is if we lead on Sokka, hit some good stuff, and then manage to crack a... Okay, Murata. Man, I wish we had a blue source as our last card here. A Johnny Outland Chaperone. Interesting. Makes a Kithkin. Yeah, I don't think I'm allowed to block here. Riverpire Verge. So we go Soul Cauldron, counter on Sokka, activate the Cauldron, counter on Sokka, and then I think the most efficient thing we can do now is Origin of Metal Bending, put a counter on Sokka, because this is 2 counters, because it's also a lesson. And then at least we might survive next turn. Four spiders. I guess if they have any removal, we're probably dead. Seam Rip a spider, perhaps. Inspiring Vantage. Well, take our blocks. Go to 1. And they are back on board pretty quickly. Marco. Play a land. Play a Marco. Play a Moxite. There's a Boomerang. Okay, well, surviving another turn. You know, I guess I should have played the Murata first, but I think I have to give her up anyway. I don't know, I could yeah, I should have played the Murata before the Melded Moxite. Bit of a goof there. I was kind of thinking maybe there was a chance I don't play her, but in retrospect, yeah, it looks a little silly. Would have been 2 extra counters on her to make the Twitching Doll pop off a bit harder. So they swing in. We block like this. We exile. I guess just the Delny here. Keep the Murata alive. Yeah, I wish I had those 2 extra counters, actually. Bit of a goof. Johnny ticking up. Steam Vents. Play our Sokka here. Put another counter on the Murata. Discard the Steam Vents. Torch. Torch is not bad. Yeah, I'm feeling like a damn fool. Extra spiders would have been crazy here. That's alright. Let's do what we can. Exile Asaka here. Target Murata. Make some spiders. Pass it back to ya. I guess I could go for a Winter Night Stories here, maybe? Do I need to hold up the torch? I guess if they have any removal, I'm dead through that play. No, you know what? I guess I'm not. Maybe we fire off a Winter Night Stories. Could be a window. Another Twitching Doll. I think having another body is maybe relevant. So let's just discard the lands. Tricky, tricky. The Johnny making dudes. Delny. Not particularly relevant. Only swings in for 2. That's a little weird. You know, I guess this was summoning sick. Okay. Makes sense. Doesn't want to give up Suki. Has a disenchant for the Soul-Cauldron. That's a little tough. Another Sokka. So we could play this other Sokka. Discard a Twitching Doll. Maybe draw into another Cauldron. Man, you know what would go down real nice right now? Two extra spiders. Let's just give up this. Is it crazy to give up the torch when there's a Delny right there? Yeah, probably. Alright. Kill the Delny. Not much doing here. Play a Riverpire Verge. Plan to make a robot off the Mildred Moxite, I suppose. Voice of Victory. They're actually going to ultimate this Ajani. I don't know if it's good for them, but they are going to do it. Swinging in with everything makes sense. Yeah, I just can't do anything about how wide they are right now. Maybe if I had 2 extra spiders. All right, folks. Bit of a goof. That's all right. Complicated stuff going on here. A lot of triggers to think about. Let's move into the next match. All right, match number 2. On the draw, no red is a little rough, but I kind of like the double Murata. Murata is like one of the best pieces we could have in our opener. We don't have anything to pair with her, but our removal's pretty decent. Forsaken Miner. There's a Sokka. Happy to see Sokka. Would be even happier to see a mountain. Deep Cavern Bat. Not going to be too big of a problem. I guess they probably just take like the boomerang basics here. So they take the torch. Okay. Kind of makes sense. Even if I don't have red. Makes sense. Swing it in. Another Sokka. Maybe I just bounce my Murata here for a redraw. I could just cycle the Mako. That actually makes the most sense probably, because if I hit like, it'll put a counter on Murata, and then if I hit one of my 2-mana artifacts, I can put it into play off Murata. Okay. Pass it back. Phyrexian Arena. Whoa, that's some old school tech. No blocks. Probably gonna get bounced. There's a red source, pretty huge for us. Go ahead and put this Sokka into play. Let's discard our extra legends. Trigger the Murata. There's a monument we can put into play. Kind of nice. Just bounce the arena. Set them back a little here. They might not expect that I can cast an artifact on their turn to put a 1/1 counter on Sokka. Kind of interesting tech here. Tap out for a Phyrexian Arena. Swing it in. Go ahead and block here. Put a monument to Endurance into play at instant speed. Okay. Sokka's getting big. There's a Boomerang Basics. Huh. I guess we just bounce the Phyrexian Arena again. Grow the Sokka. Continue to swing in. It's not drawing a card, but it's not bad. I think I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to play a land in case I draw a loot, I guess. I thought about holding on to it in case I draw like another Sokka. I have extra material to discard, but it is definitely possible I just draw a loot here in the future. Elegy Acolyte, pretty good. I'd be happy with a lot. Winter Night Stories, I mean, another land is not really what we want. Yeah, play a land. Pass it back to you. Kind of all dressed up. Nowhere to go, really. Yeah, I don't think this 75 is like the perfect list, but I think there are some pretty good, strong synergies here. I probably have some blind spots in these colors, to be honest with you, and in this strategy. I'm not like a, I never booted up the original Vivi Cauldron when it was in Standard, so I'm sure someone with slightly more experience with that shell could probably contribute some ideas to what might ultimately be like a solid list for this strategy. But I think this is a pretty decent starting point at the very least. Tragic Trajectory, killing off the Murata. Okay. Fair enough. Elegy Acolyte. There's a Soul Cauldron. Nothing particularly good to put into play, but we can exile their Forsaken Miner at the very least and grow the Sokka. I think I'll just go for that before they have a chance to do anything here. I guess I could make them pay the black to try to bring it in, and then I could exile it, but there's a Phyrexian Arena. They have quite a lot of damage in the air. Sunset Saboteur. I need to draw like a Winter Night Stories yesterday. Hitting all those lands in a row was not super ideal. There's a Melded Moxite. Okay. So we play the Moxite. Sokka's getting huge. Discard a card. Draw an extra card here off the monument, I think. Twitching Doll. I don't have a way to get the Twitching Doll in the graveyard right now. I could plan to cycle the shark on their turn. I guess I could just, like, try to block with the Twitching Doll. Block the Sunset Saboteur. Try to survive another turn. Because if I, like, do that and then draw a torch to torch a Karsi Revenant, that could all be okay. Let's go for that, I guess. Play out our stuff. I think we hold on to this mountain for more discard fodder. Gotta pass it back. Losing a life to the Phyrexian Arena. Another Acolyte. Just swings with the bat. Losing some more life, drawing some cards. Interesting. Cecil. Timeline Color. Warped. That's weird. Not much of a reason. Oh, to trigger their elegy acolytes. Okay. Fair enough. That seems pretty cool. Go ahead and exile a Mako here. I guess I should exile the Saboteur in the end step. That's probably a little better. Let's put a counter on the Mako. Did I say Saboteur? I meant Timeline Color. I can get the Twitching Doll in the graveyard just by sacrificing itself here. Possibly survive another turn. Let's do that. Sacrifice the Twitching Doll. Exile the Twitching Doll. Put a counter on... maybe once again I should have, like... I think I made this mistake in the last video. Just put a random counter on something, then play the Soul-Cauldron for 2 extra counters for Sokka for even bigger board. I'm not sure that it'll super matter here anyway, because they have this like flying damage. But I guess if I find a torch, I can torch the bat and then torch the Revenant and be at a pretty decent parity. Yeah, minor mistake perhaps. Let's go for the counter here. Make some guys. Pass it back to ya. Hold off on cracking this Mako, I think. Because we can put a nest counter on it, too. I just feel like this is close to something cool. I thought about, like, Frostcliff Siege, too, as an interesting option. Just to, like, really make this sorcery speed activation a little more... Give it a little more oomph. But it's one more layer of stuff going on. I'm not sure. But giving the spiders haste and trample and 1-0, you know, that closes out a lot of games. Maybe I'll have to tinker with that a little bit. Frostcliff Siege. You could probably just play like 2. Cycle into them. Counter on one of my spiders. Okay. Oh, these have reach. Oh, okay. Oh, they have reach. Interesting. They do have reach, don't they? We'll leave the one with the counter alive. Well, I guess we can just like block like this then. They have reach. What am I doing here? Double block this. I'm double blocking one of these guys. Okay. They have reach. Interesting. Block like this, and then we can exile this Karsi Revenant from their graveyard. I might still be in this. I forgot they have reach. I mean, they are spiders, after all. They'll trigger their stuff. I'll make a robot. Agna Kela. Okay. Not the worst draw. Exile their Karsi Revenant, make a couple more spiders. Fire off this Agna Kela first, I suppose. See what we hit. And discard the Steam Vents. Redraw here. Another Twitching Doll. Okay. Exile the Revenant. Go for another counter on this guy. Plan to produce some more spiders. Double the spider count. Not much else to be doing there. I don't know. Maybe having a 4/4 body is a little more relevant, but they have a pretty wide board. Kind of a complicated deck here. A lot to think about. Way above my pay grade. Double Sunset Saboteur. Love this guy's hair or helmet, whatever it is. It's probably a helmet, I guess. It looks like a pompadour though. Swinging in. Or not. I mean, you should definitely like swing with some stuff, right? Just swing with everything, bro. You've got lethal for sure. For sure you've got lethal. Oh, come on. Okay. Block, block, block. Block. I guess if I'm chumping, I might as well chump the Karsi Revenant. Yeah, something like that. Gotta keep something alive, I think. These Elegy Acolytes kind of going crazy. Maybe this should be a Seer deck. Maybe we should be on Seers. Break out the catalog. Nah, we're dead. But we can move into game 2. And that's something to look forward to. Now we know what we're playing against. Bring in our extra torches. Probably bring in the Flood Maws here. Do we care about Spell Snare? I don't think we care about the Soul Guide Lanterns either. A couple Origin of Metal Bendings are probably okay though. Nah. Maybe a waste. Let's go down. Couple Saheeli's Lattice. Couple Monuments. A little slow here. Try it like that. Alright, I think I'm going to keep this. We have a turn 1 Murata. We can put the Twitching Doll. We don't have green, but we can put the Twitching Doll into play off of Murata, hopefully. We have a Torch for a Bat. Forsaken Miner. Or for Forsaken Miner. Melded Moxites. Actually, a really nice draw here. Lets us speed up this Twitching Doll idea. So we can discard this Winter Night Stories. Put an extra counter on Murata here, and now we have the mana to... Or sorry, we have enough counters to put the Twitching Doll into play on their turn. Further accelerating us. Plays a Bat. Go for the Doll. Very similar start to last game, I think. They'll eat up the Torch, probably. But double basics here lets us kind of go crazy with the Melded Moxite. Pick it up, put it into play off Murata, pick it up, so on and so forth. I could just trade here. Is that crazy? It's probably a little crazy. We want the Doll in the graveyard, but maybe not that badly. Let's start with the Boomerang basics. Okay, there's a Monument. So we can put the Monument into play off of Murata here. And then... play a land. Play the Melded Moxite. Discard this other Murata. Going crazy. Let's draw a card. There's a Torch. That's a pretty good hit. I guess we just pass here. Plan to torch this Bat. We're kind of going nuts. If we can get the... I mean, we can get the Twitching Doll into the graveyard at any time. Just by sacking the Doll. And Murata has a lot of counters right now. Well, let's just go ahead and torch the Bat. We can afford to take this 2 here. Taking a lot of game actions. Go ahead and pick up this Melded Moxite. Another Melded Moxite. Let's play the let's play the Moxite off of Murata on their turn. Let's just go for the main phase Moxite here. Okay, there's a Soul-Cauldron. Do we want to go for that? We could make a treasure. I guess we can't outright go for... No, we haven't played a land. We could go for it. It's probably better to delay, I think, and just, like, draw a card. We can draw a card. We can torch whatever they play. We can play a Stomping Grounds tapped here. Actually, maybe it makes sense to just put the Soul-Cauldron into play. Off the Twitching Doll here. And then next turn we can get a ton of counters onto Murata by playing this Melded Moxite and set up for this Twitching Doll, sort of infinite spiders situation. Not infinite, but, you know, a metric buttload. Carsey Revenant. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a problem with just blocking here. Gonna have to end up putting a counter on Murata anyway. 1-3, bounce off each other. Activate Murata. Moxite into play. 2 counters for Murata here. Probably just discard a land at this point. Pretty likely we'll hit another one. Draw some more cards. There's a loot as well. Boomerang basics. I mean, we can take so many game actions this turn, I think. It's kinda over. We could even just, like, torch the Revenant off the Twitching Doll, but making spiders probably makes more sense. Make some spiders. Torch the Revenant. Gonna do this anyway. Might as well just do it. Sokka. That's a pretty good draw. We need to play another Moxite. I guess we can play a Mako first. Play a Mako. Play a Moxite. Might as well hold on to the loot. Although we don't have green mana. We could make a treasure. Holding onto the loot's maybe not the worst idea. We can always discard it in the future. Let's discard the Winter Night Stories. Let's make a treasure so we can play this second Murata after we sacrifice. Oh, can I undo that? No. I don't know. I don't know why I clicked her, but I also don't know why I can't undo that. I guess it's not a mana ability. Oh, that's so funny. It's fine. It's a big goof for sure, but we're so far ahead anyway. I guess I'll leave that in the video. Sorry to all my haters. You get more fuel for the fire, or I guess you're welcome. Arch Enemy's Charm, sure. Yeah, sure. We're still doing all right. And they scoop it up. Okay. Would have had a million spiders. Sorry to all my viewers that miss out on that satisfaction. But we get to go into game 3 here. I find Arena so interesting sometimes. Just like things that you can do, ways that you can like really screw yourself over that just you can't do in Paper Magic. It's like, yeah, obviously I'm not going to tap my Murata for no reason there, but just like a no thought click, and it's like, well, you can't take these backsies on Arena. I find that in combination with the not chess timer, but like you get a set amount of time every turn timer that Arena has, leads to some really suboptimal play, just by the design of the medium. I think it's like MTGO is just a better simulation of paper Magic than Arena is. Arena is more like a Hearthstone kind of game. Yeah, I don't know. I find that a little tough sometimes, especially with like, you know, all the time you get free information from players that don't have stop set at certain points, you know? And I feel like it adds a layer of this isn't Magic to this Magic game, you know? It's like in paper, yes, you do have to be a little active as to like when you want priority and so on and so forth, but you as a communicator, as a human being, get to work with your opponent to pick your points when you want to, you know, hold on, I have an effect sort of response situation. And having to instead interface with the game to like set stops and stuff like that, it adds a layer of clunkiness that paper Magic doesn't really have, or at least you don't feel it as much in paper Magic. Anyway, that's my side talk about the medium of Arena. Let's move into game 3 here. Okay, well, after my little sidebar, it looks like my opponent AFK'd, and we take that as a win. So let's head into match 3. Match 3 on the play. Ooh, pretty good hand. A lot of stuff to work with here. Just go ahead and lead on the Marco Sharko. Pass it to ya. Probably makes a little more sense to go for, well, let's just go for the Saheeli's Lattice, I suppose. Grow the Shark a little bit. Make it a little threatening. I think I want to keep the Winter Night Stories around. Maybe I get rid of a Soul Cauldron for now. Doesn't really do anything with this hand. Although against a Golgari list, maybe it's good. Yeah, let's get rid of the Relic. Another Shark, Boomerang Basics. Okay, not bad. Gives us something to do next turn. Hollowmark Siege. Fair enough. Torch. Let's just go for a Boomerang Basics on the Lattice here. Try to draw into a land. No land. But Asaka's actually pretty good with the double Shark board, for sure. Also wouldn't mind getting this Monument on the field. There's a Bristly Bill. Going to be threatening to draw quite a few cards here. Boomerang Basics. Could just bounce the Bill. I think I'm going to go for the Saka plan. Hopefully draw a land here. Let's get rid of the Monument at this point. Kind of rely on our other stuff we got going on here. Cheaper cards. There's an island. Pretty good draw. We can just go ahead and bounce the Bill and pass. Or sorry, bounce the Bill, swing in, and then pass, of course. Keep the tempo up. Put a counter on the Saka, because this is a lesson. They're going to get their draw. Not the end of the world for us. High Octane. Got kind of a fair game plan going on here. Yeah, decided to cut the Gene Pollinators from the original list and replace them with the Sharks. They just work nicely with the Cauldron in general, especially with our, like, wanting to have counters on our creatures plan, and also give us this alternate angle that isn't reliant on our graveyard. Big creatures. We have another way to discard, put counters on all of our stuff next turn. We also have this Cauldron. Nothing in the graveyard quite yet. Well, there's something good for the graveyard. So let's go Lattice and then plan to torch something. We'll discard the loot. I could have played another Shark first, but I wanted to be able to guarantee that I could torch. Land, huh? Well, let's just swing in. Actually, let's play the land in case I want to cycle this Marco Sharko. Swing in with everything. See what they do. Because if they just single block... Okay, they're going for the doubler. So I could kind of catch them out here if they try to, like, overprotect. Oh, they do have a Fabled Passage. Okay. I couldn't tell what that was with the avatar art. They have a Fabled Passage, but this isn't enough to save their guys. They're just going to get a redraw. Move into damage. See if they have a way to protect their guy. Shoot the sheriff on Sokka. Yeah, that's okay. Let's go for the Soul-Cauldron then. I think, unless... Soul-Cauldron exposes the Soul-Cauldron, and I have lethal next turn, just going like Soul-Cauldron and double bolt them off loot. Maybe it makes more sense to just like play a Murata or just torch this Chocobo right now. Keep them from being able to guarantee another draw. This might also like force them to commit more to the board next turn. We'll take another Sokka, I think. Rather than yeah, it puts them in a tough spot, I think. If I just torch the bird there. They're at 4. I mean, either of our guys connect. That's lethal, so they kind of have to think about that. But I also have this loot angle. Icetill. Just put 2 blockers on the field. Yeah, that won't be enough. What they could do is if they do kill one of my sharks and chump, I don't necessarily have lethal. But 2 blockers I can beat. Okay, cool. Go for the cauldron. Exile the loot. And then bolt them in the face twice. The other nice thing about this cauldron is it has this clause where it says you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate abilities of creatures you control. So something kind of neat to keep in mind when you have this loot exiled, that you can use your like forests to activate the red part, the red ability, you know. Against an Icetill landfall list, Into the Floodmaw seems pretty good. Just ways to disrupt their like big explosive Might Form Harmonizer combo if they're on Harmonizer. Spell Snare for Bristly Bill / the Cub probably makes sense as well. I like some number of torches. You know, also hits the Hollowmark Siege. Some number of torches seems alright, I think. Go down. Maybe we just want all the monuments here. Go down a couple lattice. Maybe go down a couple relic. We're not that heavy on the torch idea. Try it like that. I don't think we want to bother with a ton of graveyard hate. Just try to combo them. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty ideal. Turn 1 Marco. Turn 2 Sokka discarding the... Oh, shit. Yeah, oh, yeah. Turn 1 Marco. Turn 2 Sokka, discarding our targets, and we have a cauldron to follow up. Yeah. Looking good. And swing with a 3/3 Marco. Is Vivi Cauldron back in a new way? Back and better than ever? No, but pretty good. Swinging in with the shark. Sokka, once again, just kind of an all-star in this list. Kind of an all-star. Does everything we want. Day of Black Sun. Okay, fair enough. Boomerang basics. Yeah, let's just fire off this Winterite Stories. Monument. Discard a couple lands here, I think. Play the mountain so we can put the Agna Kella in untapped. We're set up in the graveyard. We just don't have creatures for the Cauldron. There's an Icetill. That's pretty nice till. They don't have a Fabled... Oh, now they have a Fabled Passage and a second one. Okay, can't really interact with that too much. There's a Natty Loot. Let's play a Monument. And just plan to bounce this Icetill, I think. That's probably okay. Slows them down a little bit. Slows them down a little bit. Keeps them from killing me next turn if they have like a Harmonizer in hand at the very least. Cracks the Fabled Passage. Probably should have done it in response to the Boomerang basics. Icetill. Fabled Passage. Fabled Passage. Rise of Sozin. Nice. Well, there's a Sokka. Okay, let's go for the Sokka. I'm gonna... Do I hold on to the loot? I don't think so. It's not really something I want to tap out for. Let's just double discard here. Draw and treasure. I could maybe just start trying to slow drain them a little here. Could just bounce. Bounce the Icetill again. I'm not sure that that really does anything. Let's just play the Soul-Cauldron. Put a counter on Sokka here. Pass it back. See if we get to untap with this Sokka. Doesn't seem super likely. Chocobo. Activate Bossing Say. Okay, so this is going to be able to start exiling some of our targets. A land into play here means that if I want to kill the Chocobo, I have to do it right now. But I could just, like, torch the Restless Cottage. I think that's probably a little better. It'll give him another landfall trigger, but they are not lacking for landfall triggers. See how all in they go here. Yeah, let's just torch the cottage here. It gives up the treasure, but I think keeping the Twitching Doll as an option for next turn could be kind of important. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. Maybe you're just supposed to go for the Saz's Chocobo, but I'd have to give up one of my permanents here, and I don't think that's a winning line really either. I guess what I really could just do is just just exile whatever they target with the Soul-Cauldron. Duh. Oh, they can respond by making it a 4/4. That's fine. You got it, dude. Not a whole lot going on otherwise. Swinging in. Exile our Twitching Doll. Block the Icetill. Maybe we can start to go crazy next turn. Torch. So let's Melded Moxite. Discard the torch here. Draw some cards. Do we need another treasure? I don't think so. Draw some cards. Murata. That's pretty good. Play a Murata. I think I just want to go for a Winter Night Stories here. That kind of makes the most sense to me. Or I could, like, exile the loot onto Sokka and draw 3 that way. That's pretty good. Let's go for that. Draw 3 cards. When you draw your first or second card each turn. I see. And then bounce the Saz's Chocobo. Keeps them from going absolutely nuts next turn. Yeah, this could be okay. I don't know. Maybe making insects is a little less risky, but they do have the Day of Black Sun anyway, so in their deck, maybe not in hand. Doing a lot of milling. We can afford to take whatever hit this is. Swinging in. Exile's second loot. Kind of relevant, because you can stack the loot abilities under the Cauldron to play around the exhaust situation if you like wanted to double bolt across turns. Take this hit. Alright. What can we do here? Let's go for Melded Moxite. I think I'm just going to crack this for spiders this turn. Discard a Stomping Ground. Another Cauldron. What can you do with that? I'm going to start draining them, I think. Not draining, just bonking them. I think I can kill them over the course of some turns here. Make spiders. Yeah, play another body, I think. I could also just, like, make 2 spiders off Murata, but holding up the bolt is probably relevant. Holding up the bolt off of the loot activation. Yeah, let's go like this. Make some spiders. Play a land. Pass it to you. Okay, so they went for Crack the Fetch. In this window, I can kill their Saz's Chocobo, so I think I'm going to take advantage of that. Exile one of my Sokkas. Counter on Murata. Oh! Not that one. You're hiding. Okay. Bolt the Chocobo. I mean, imagine if I had, like, an Ouroboros in this list, too. I could just, like, in this window, put a bunch of counters on my guys, and then they'd all have the ability to bolt my opponent. Be a pretty fun way to close out a game. There's a pretty strong argument that you should just be on Badgermole Cub Ouroboros, too. It plays really kind of crazy with Soul-Cauldron. I don't know. Yeah, there are a lot of options in this list. But 7 spiders, getting there. Okay. Winning the match. 2-1. I'm pretty happy with this iteration. I'm pretty happy with the results here. I think I'm just going to call it here. Hour-long video. Not so bad. Had a pretty fun run with it. Got kind of a, I'm not going to say a free match win in match 2. We did go 1-1, and then they bailed on the 3rd game, so that's okay. Let's go ahead and open a victory pack here. I thought the deck performed pretty nicely. Once again, there are just so many options in these colors, especially when you're playing a 3-color list. It's like, wow, the world is really your oyster. As far as like playables, ooh, Meek Attack. Ooh, you know I'm going to be building some Meek Attack lists. I got to get my wild card count up though. Taking a look back at the list here, I think everything played nicely as far as like the core goes. Murata had moments where she really shined. Being able to like put in monuments for free was really sweet. I think you could maybe clean up this relic idea and like hone in on a good count for those. Is it just 4 lattices and 4 moxites? Is it you skip the lattice and just play 4 relics? I'm not really sure there. Winter Night Stories had moments where it shined. I think our sideboard could use a little work with the access to Seer now as a removal option. I think maybe we should lean in more on that. There were a lot of moments where like having that extra damage on a removal piece in that first matchup, especially against the Sukis, would have been really nice. Torches played nicely though. Yeah, overall I think pretty cool. I'm interested in trying like an all-out degenerate sort of like just play all the best cards in the format and go Badger Mole Cub Ouroboros sort of build where you cut the... Yeah, I don't know what you would cut. Maybe you go down on the discard theme and just cut like the Makos and the monuments and then go 4 Badger Mole Cub for Ouroboros. And that way you have a pretty busted fair game plan, quote-unquote fair game plan that doesn't involve your graveyard, but then you still have this opportunity to like not only up your counter count, but like Badger Mole Cub in general just plays really nicely with Cauldron because you're giving you're creating a hasty creature that is already souped up for the Cauldron. I'm sure everyone knows this probably, but you know, in the like modern Yawgmoth lists, I believe they play with that a little bit. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's close. I think maybe you could relegate the monuments to the sideboard and maybe do something like a little more on the board instead, but had a pretty fun run, 2-1. Thank you for checking out this video. Let me know what you think. I tried to play kind of clean today. It's tough when there are so many little choices you have to make in decks like this, but yeah, had a fun run. If you like this kind of content, I'll be posting every day. Why don't you like and subscribe, perhaps, if you'd like to come back. And hope you have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.